This is my mock lesson for teaching kindergartners how to rhyme. There will be at least 15 minutes of my actual lesson in this video, and I'm going to skip through the first intro video just for the sake of I only get 15 minutes to share my lesson. So I'm going to pretend that this is my whiteboard. I'm going to pretend that my whiteboard ideally would be behind me, and that this is my desk, and that right here out here are my students. So let's get started. As a transition, I would start off by telling them, all right, kindergartners, come on down to Carpet Town. We're going to transition into our next activity, so go ahead and take a couple minutes to clean up, put whatever you're working on away, and make your way down to the carpet. Once they get down to the carpet, I would transition and say, all right, kindergartners, we're going to start off our next lesson. It's about rhyming words, which is so exciting. So we're going to start off with this awesome video. And I would play the video, which I'm not going to play now because that will take up 4 minutes. After the video, I will begin now. Wow, that was an awesome video, you guys. All right, scholars, take a seat on your carpet square and give me full body listening, please. We're going to talk about rhyming. So cool. Did you guys notice that all of the words in the video all had the same ending? That means that those are rhyming words. Words that have the same ending are rhyming words, like dog and fog, or cat and hat. All right, I would like you guys to give me a sight word. Anyone? Can, perfect. Can is a perfect sight word. All right, we have can right here, and I would like someone to give me a word that they think rhymes with can. Yeah, fan. Fan is a great one. When we look at these two words right here, you guys, can and fan, what do we notice about them? Yeah, you notice that the last two letters are the exact same. Can you guys give me another word, please? Big, perfect. Big, awesome. Give me another word that you think rhymes with big. What do you think? Dig. Perfect. All right, when we look at these two words, what do we notice? Big and dig. We notice that the two letters at the end are the same, which means they're what? Rhyming words. Awesome. All right, you guys, give me two more words, or start with one more word. Let's think. Good. Good is a great one. Good is a great one. All right, what is a word that we think rhymes with good? Wood. Perfect. All right. Let's look at these two words. Good and wood. And what do we notice about the endings of both of these words? They both have O-O-D. They are what type of words? Rhyming words. Good job, you guys. All right, let's do 3 more, okay? Give me 3 more words. Any word you can think of. Play. Play is a great word. All right, what word do we think rhymes with play? Stay. That's a great one, you guys. All right, let's look at these two words. Play and stay. What do we notice about the ending of them? They're the same. Awesome. They both end in A-Y. Good job, you guys. Good job. All right, let's do 2 more. Dog. Perfect. Dog is a great one. All right, what is a word that rhymes with dog? Fog. Perfect. All right, what do we notice about these two words? Yes, they have the exact same ending, which means they are what? Rhyming words. Nice job, kindergartners. You guys are totally getting the point here. All right, last one, kindergartners. What is your last word? Stop. Stop is a great one. All right, what is a word that we think rhymes with stop? Bop. Perfect. Bop does rhyme with stop. All right, let's go ahead and look at these words. Stop and bop. And what do we notice? What do we notice about all of these words, kindergartners? They all have the same endings. Play and stay have the same ending. Dog and fog have the same ending. Stop and bop have the same. Good and would have the same. Big and dig have the same. And can and fan have the same. That means all of these are rhyming words. Good job, you guys. I'm really proud of your examples. Those were super awesome. All right, now that you guys can spot rhyming words with your eyes and you guys can come up with them, I also want you guys to be able to spot rhyming words with your ears. I want you to be able to listen to rhyming words and be able to point out when you hear a rhyme, okay? So what we're going to do is read a really fun story that is perfect for this time of year. Okay, who loves Dr. Seuss? I know I do. I love Dr. Seuss. And one of my favorite Dr. Seuss stories is The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. And so today, we are going to read The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and I want you guys to do something really, really fun while we read it. I want you guys, you can slowly do this right now, really quietly. I want you guys to go ahead and get on your knees and get ready to stand up. Don't stand up yet, but I want you to get ready to stand up, okay? And every time you hear a rhyme, I want you to stand up. And then when you hear a rhyme again, I want you to sit down. And then when you hear it again, I want you to stand up and sit down and stand up and sit down. So you are going to be moving a lot during this next story, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. When you guys are moving, I do want you to make sure that you are all staying in your appropriate squares, okay? And we're not getting crazy with our bodies. We're not flailing our arms and going wiggle, wiggle, crazy banana. We're keeping our body collected and we're moving just our legs and arms up and down, okay? When you hear the rhyme. So go ahead and get on those knees, get ready to pop up and turn your listening ears on and listen really carefully for the rhymes. All right, let's get started. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. Good job, pop up. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason. Ooh, pop down. Good job, you guys. Yeah, season and reason are rhyming words. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. Ooh, stand up. Because right and tight are rhyming words. All right, now that I've gone a little bit slow and you guys know what you're doing, I'm going to pick up the pace of my reading a little bit. Okay, so you guys feel free to pop up and pop down. And if we get too wild or too silly, then I'll just pause my reading and quietly remind you guys to go ahead and keep your bodies calm, even though it's so fun to pop up and down to these rhymes. Okay, where were we at? The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with the sour Grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town, for he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. Kindergartners, was there a rhyme right there? Was saying noise, 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 noise a rhyme? No, it's not, because noise doesn't rhyme with itself, right? A word doesn't rhyme with itself. 2 words can rhyme, or a set of words can rhyme, but 1 word doesn't rhyme with itself. All right, let's continue. Then the Who's, young and old, who sit down to a feast, and they'd feast and they'd feast and they'd feast, 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 feast. That feast on Who pudding, the rare Who roast beast. Oh, Miss Kimball needs to reread that because her glasses. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. He made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With his coat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer, the Grinch looked around, but since reindeers are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said. If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Poor Max. Do you guys want to see the picture? There's Max getting tied up. Oh, you can't really see it. Okay, not working. Okay. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Get up!" and the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to his first little house on the square, this was stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, like Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cold cup of water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," a fake Santa Claus lied, "there's light on this tree that won't light on one side, so I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink and sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire, and he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with the presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-hoo to the Who's, he was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo. "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his head to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started out in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew three sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And when he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef. The end. Okay, kindergartners, that was so much fun. There were a lot of rhymes in that story. I love that story. And I'm really proud of you guys. You guys did a great job moving your bodies quietly and safely up and down on your carpet squares. That was really, really good. So you guys, remind me again, what is a rhyme? When I have 2 words, what makes them rhyme? They have the same what? Beginning? No, they have the same what? Ending. Yes, they have the same ending. 2 words with the same ending allow them to rhyme. That's right, you guys. Good job. Okay, so go ahead and take a seat in your carpet squares right now, and I'm going to quickly direct you on what we're going to do next. Okay, in a minute, I'm going to come around to your guys' tables. You're going to go back in your table groups, and I'm going to drop off a big poster board and a bunch of Mrs. K's super special pens. Super colorful special pens, and you guys are going to each pick 1 color of pen, and I want you as a group to create as many rhymes as you can on your poster board, okay? So you can come up with rhymes of just words, or you can come up with phrases, or anything that you guys want, but I want you to come up with as many rhymes as you can. You'll have about 10 minutes to do this, and then as a closing, as a class, we're all going to come back together, and you guys are going to take turns as your group coming up to the front of the class and explaining to the whole class all of the rhymes that you came up with, okay? And what makes your words rhyme. Sound good? Okay, I would like you guys to super quietly go back to your seats and go ahead and get ready to get started. And I'm going to come around now with your poster board and the colorful markers that I want you guys to use. Actually, let me also say this. I want you guys to each use your individual markers because I want to be able to assess and look at, okay, Stephen did his rhymes in blue, so I know where Stephen's at with understanding rhymes. Thomas did his rhymes in green, so I can look on the board and say, this is where Thomas is at. And Alyssa did her rhymes in pink, and I can say, this is where Alyssa's at. And so it helps me understand and know where each of you guys are at in your understanding, okay? So each of you guys are going to pick 1 of Mrs. K's special colorful markers. Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started. So you guys are dismissed to go back to your seats quietly.